Welcome back to the Raven's Nest. My name is Raven, and this is a brand new segment on my channel where I get to review wrestling shows. I am choosing to do reviews for SAPW, or Support All Pro Wrestling, and they are a local wrestling company, and I go to all their events, so I just decided it would be a lot of fun to share with you guys the matches that I've seen, the people that were there in those matches, what I thought of them, who the winners were, any kind of shenanigans that were about, and just kind of have a lot of fun just sharing my love for wrestling, my love for SAPW, and all that goes along with it. Now, I've never done any kind of review show for anything before, so I am learning as I go. So if you guys see things that maybe I could improve on, leave it in the comment section below. No hard feelings at any time, because I want to make this something really fun, really exciting, and something that you guys look forward to monthly as the shows come out. And I want to make SAPW and their talent really proud. So last night we had Made in Spokane. It was a lot of fun. It was the biggest event that SAPW has put on. There was a total of, and I'm sorry, you are going to see me check my notes because this old brain of mine is nice and old, so the memory is a little fleeting, so I apologize. But there were 9 matches. We had about 3.5 hours of show, and it was pretty good, pretty amazing, and I was really proud of my friend Greg, who manages all of SAPW. He did a really good job at putting this together. We had a great venue, which was Riverside Place. It's the old Masonic Temple if you're from this area. The venue was beautiful, the crowd was in it, and the matches were great. So let's get this going. So the first thing that came out was what I called half a match. They started to announce a one fall match, and immediately the music for Christopher Ryzak started playing, and he came out and he let us know that we were all ugly and we're all idiots. Of course he did, because he is apparently the most beautiful wrestler that there ever is, was, or ever will be, if I am to steal from the hearts. And he is also there to say that he doesn't feel like he should have to wrestle later against 2 other people for his championship belt. He went around all on his own volition to get signatures and say, hey, they should actually have a match, the other 2, and see who the number 1 contender should be. So I only have to have 1 match in the main event, 1 opponent in the main event. So it was reviewed, agreed upon. So we brought out Matt Cross and Marty the Moth. Sorry, I might botch his last name, Cassius. And supposedly they were going to have a match. But since those 2 are friends, and since they know that Ryzak has been dodging people forever, they decided they would just go ahead and do a double count out, and that way they would both be considered the losers / the winners, and they would head into the main event both against Ryzak. So there you have it. Christopher Ryzak did not get his way on that one. Next, we got to meet our special ring announcer and a new addition to the SAPW team, Jackie Smith. She did a really great job at announcing the official first match, which was Jakari Frost versus C. Wild. Now, this was a good match. Jakari Frost, he's a very talented young man. He really has a lot of passion. He was really showing it in that ring last night. He was really hungry for that win, is what he was really going for. Right away, though, C. Wild went to the outside. He thought he was being really smart. He was really thinking that he was going to outsmart Frost. It didn't work, because as soon as he got back in, he he got clotheslined by Frost, and then he got slammed. Of course, Wild did all the basic cheap heel moves. And then Frost went in with an upper hand, then suplexes, chest chops.
This SAPW crowd is rabid. Oh, yes, they are. They're loving this. Oh, boy. Whip into the corner. Trying to get out of.
Then we ended up with a manager distraction to give Wild the opportunity to provide a low blow to Frost, which then a dirty pin with the feet on the ropes, and that gave a 1, 2, 3 to Wild, and he ended up winning, leaving Frost out in the cold. That is such a bummer. But Wild did what he needed to do. He was being a heel. He had his manager out there to help him be a heel, and he was able to get the crowd to boo him, which is what all heels want to do. Next was Danica De La Rouge versus Princess Deathwish. Princess Deathwish is one of the best heels in the Pacific Northwest, in my opinion. He can get just about anybody in any building to boo him, no matter what. Seen him in a couple venues with a couple different promotions. So maybe I can't fully say the Pacific Northwest, but at least in my area of it, because he's just so dastardly and so loud and squeaky. And Danica De La Rouge, being a woman, I'm automatically all for her. She was very, very good in that ring. They both were. This is a high contender for me to be match of the night. They worked really well. Danica did some good old arm drags, while Princess began being his usual bitchy self to Danica, to the crowd, to everybody. They even had a good old cheer off. Of course they did, because Princess thinks that he is bum when he actually is not. But after Danica had the upper hand, the tides did turn when the Princess did a kick to the knee. Danica was wearing a knee brace, and Princess took that to his advantage, did a good old kick to the knee, got the tides in his favor, and started getting the upper hand and owning Danica all over that ring, which is quite unfortunate, because I am always cheering for the woman when it's a man versus woman match. I always want that woman to win. Her into a headlock, and then they went to the outside, and Princess went to the outside. Danica ended up coming to run to do a suicida. Princess knocked her on her bum by giving her a good old punch through the ropes, and then tried covering Danica, but she did a good old kick out. Then Danica was able to get up and get a fisherman hook suplex onto Princess. It looked really beautiful, but Princess kicked out of that, and Danica did a diving crossbody on the outside. Crossbody to the outside. They were able to get back into the ring, both being severely injured with their back and forth by this time. By the 8 count, then they started just exchanging blows back and forth. It was so good, just back and forth, back and forth. Danica threw Princess off the top rope, and ended up back into another battle, fiercely back and forth, with several cover attempts, several kickouts. I couldn't even count them or write them all down. There was just too many, and it was very exciting. Lots of kickouts of 1s and 2s. It was very good. But in the end, Danica ended up doing an elevated DDT on Princess and got the win. Yay for womankind. I love when that kind of thing happens, especially against a whiny little bitch like Princess. Next was the dog collar match for the SAPW No Limits Championship. This was Insanity Demon. He was come to the ring with Xander the Screw versus Petrov, who is the current champ. And I had a lot of high hopes for this match, guys. A lot of high hopes. Dog collar matches, they are a big thing in the history of wrestling. And there's a lot to hold up to when you're going to do a dog collar match. But I am sad to say that this match, in my book, it failed to live up to anything. It was a very slow, very non-dog collar-y match. I love Petrov. I find him to be very wonderful, very entertaining. I cheer for him whenever I see him. But it was such a slow start. They failed to catch my attention. I was trying so hard to write some notes. There was a suspended slam in there. There was a low blow with a chain. But it was just mundane, to be honest. And I really wish there had been more. I wish we could go back in time and make that something a little bit more and a little bit exciting. But in the end, Petrov did win after doing a slam to Insanity Demon. He kept his title, but alas, in came the bitchy Princess Death Wish. Came in, somehow he attacked Petrov with another chain, got the referee to ring the bell to create another match, hit Petrov in the head with the belt, got the 1, 2, 3, and is now the new No Limits champion. How the heck did that happen? I have no idea. I was stunned. My son was stunned. The commentators seemed stunned. But him and the referee, they beat feet on out of there. Smells almost like a little screw job to this reporter. After that, we had a little moment where it was Joe's goodbye. Joe has been security and friends of SAPW forever. He really is the one who makes sure so much goes right and so much wrong stays outside. And it was his last night, and it was quite the moment. Everybody got to do a thank you Joe chant. He even left his shoes in the middle of the ring like a true wrestling legend. And let me tell you, we are going to miss the services of Joe, but he did promise he would still be in the shadows, so we still will see him around. And bad guys, beware. You never know when he's going to put that cape back on and be our mysterious helper anyways. So after that, we had a no DQ House of Wars hardcore triple threat for the PNW No Limits hardcore match. This was Big Vicious versus the Northman Ernest Olson versus Buddy Highway. This was just a fun match to be around and to watch. You had Vicious starting off this match with just grabbing in things from under the ring, and one of the things was like an oar for a boat, and he was going around just on the outside just tapping balls. He's doing that while well, the Northman had a plunger, and he was plungering the face of Highway. And then the Northman at some point got a hold of Vicious, and they were outside, and he got him on top of a rolling cart, and he's hitting him with sheet pans, and then he's giving sheet pans to audience members and having...
The Northman just taking his usual advantage. I guess it's better than carrying somebody down there. How many chairs do we have out here? Future hard recipient over there. You said it on the card.
audience members hit Vicious with the sheet pans, and it was great, and they were brawling all over on the outside. And I always love when wrestlers come to the outside and brawl amongst the audience, into the audience, around the audience, onto the floor. I always think that's just such fun stuff. They eventually ended up grabbing a TV somewhere in the back and getting that into the ring. And when you look back from Northman and Vicious, who are fighting all over the place, and you look back, you can see that Highway has littered the ring with all kinds of stuff. He's got doors, chairs, dustpans, sheet pans, everything in the ring, and it's just nuts. Now, don't get me wrong. Highway didn't only sit there littering the ring. He did come out and fight with the other guys on several occasions, but he was making sure that he had everything that he needed for when the match got back into the ring. So when they found that TV and they all rolled back up into the ring, they got the TV set up in between two chairs. And what happened? You had Vicious putting Northman through the TV, Highway putting Vicious through the door, and then rolling over and covering Northman, 1, 2, 3, keeping his belt.
Using those pants, but he using a crowbar.
We have a winner, and it was such a fun match. I would go and watch that match all over again. I had a lot of fun. The audience had fun. It looked like the guys were having a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm always up for those kind of fun matches. They were really great. At this point, we had an intermission where Wild was out, bitchy, saying demanding a contract. However, management denied him a contract, but instead gave it to Frost, who again was being so good. He's so talented, and he deserves a contract, and I wish him a lot of luck at SAPW, a lot of luck in his future. And then SAPW provided a live band for the audience to listen to during intermission, so that was very generous of them. When we came back, match number 6 was a family grudge match between Jay Manson and Jesse Manson. And anybody who knows me knows that I am a hardcore Jay Manson fan. So while Jesse Manson had the house, like the house was erupting for Jesse, they were all over having him win this match, I was cheering opposite of the rest of the house, and I didn't care because Jay's my guy. And this match was good. Jesse was on top right out of the gate. They were brawling on the outside. Really, Jesse had control all along the outside. When they did get back into the ring and the fight officially started, Jay found himself on top. He found himself just kind of giving a nice classic beatdown to Jesse. He eventually came out from under the ring, grabbed like a lighting track, it looked like, from under the ring. He went to hit Jesse with it. Nice classic trope of hitting the top rope instead, it bouncing back, hitting himself in the head, knocked himself down. Jesse couldn't really take advantage from what I recall, but eventually gave him enough beatdown where he got the upper hand. But then Jay got down for a pin after a powerbomb, and this is where it got a little confusing. So like we had this back and forth between these guys. Jesse had the upper hand for quite a while. Then Jay had the upper hand. And he was able to do a reversal into a power bomb. It looked like he did not get all of the power bomb. and it looked like maybe I don't know if the execution was missed or the landing was missed, but somehow it just wasn't quite right. But he tried covering off the end of that power bomb anyway. The referee was counting funny, kind of was stopping as Jay rocked back and forth, trying to keep him covered. Then all of a sudden the ref was calling for the bell, saying that there was a 3 count when there wasn't a 3 count. It was very confusing, botch type of ending, but the fans weren't having it because they knew that this was incorrect. And thank goodness Jay and Jesse were calling their own audibles. They redid this whole ending. Jay got a beautiful power slam after that. He got the 1, 2, 3 and won this match. But I was just so confused, as so were many other fans, about the original ending, the referee, the way he was calling for the bell, all of that. It was very, very confusing. But thankfully, we did get a real ending after that. Then the match that we got after that was Levi Cooper versus Cal Jack. Levi Cooper is the former Tucker Knight from WWE. It was really great to be able to see him live and really doing awesome. He looked great. He looked like he'd really toned up. He looked like he was having a great time. He was out there just doing really well. It was a very well matched match right from the beginning. They did beautiful match work. I apologize. They did really beautiful mat work with each other. It was really clean, back and forth, beautiful holds with each other. And it was just a beautiful dance to watch between these two. I really enjoyed it. It did seem as though Levi had Cal's number, however, no matter what move Cal tried to do. It did take a low blow for the tides to change and for Cal to get on top officially for a while and start working over Levi. But in the end, Levi ended up doing a beautiful crossbody. Cal went in for a slam after that, though. And Levi just wasn't having it. Did a reversal off the second slam, got the 1, 2, 3, and took the win. Of course he did. He's Levi Cooper. How could he not? But it was so beautifully done. Beautiful dance in that ring. I would watch that one again. However, at the end, Cal approached the mic and said that he and Levi should have a best 2 out of 3s match the next time that they meet. So hopefully that's it in SAPW's future, hopefully soon. Then comes Mickey the Mustache Selleck versus Chris Marks, who is a luchador, and I love luchadors. But Mickey the Mustache identifies as 7'1" when he's really probably only 5'8", maybe less. I don't know. I'm short. What do I know?
You're 7'1". You can take this guy.
Now, in case you did miss it, though, Chris Marks did park the black Zord. What do they call those things? Power Zords? Yeah, that thing parked. Power Zord, it was on team. Down in the south parking lot.
Now, if he was 7'1", you don't have to reach so far now, right? So that's how you get 7 foot back in the ring.
No. But it starts with Mickey the Mustache embarrassingly getting slapped around the ring like a little bitch. Chris is just taunting and teasing and also not quite understanding how this Mickey the Mustache seems to think he is so big and so awesome when it's very obvious he is not. However, somehow Mickey the Mustache would get in these crazy lucky punches and find himself on top for several minutes at a time. When you think of Mickey the Mustache, you don't think of this big badass guy who could do much, but he manages to sneak it in anyway. There's something going on up here that people don't know, and I think it could pay off for him in the future. I really do. However, really, in the end, it was to no avail. Chris Marks got the 1, 2, 3. Of course he did. Mickey the Mustache was never going to beat a luchador, ever. But hey, you know, what are you going to do? He tried. He did have a lot of great times on top, a lot of great hits, and good job, Mickey the Mustache, and I look forward to watching you more in the future. Then came time for our main event, which was for the SAPW Heavyweight Championship. It was Marty the Moth versus Matt Cross versus Christopher Ryzak. And this was really great, and it was all that I expected. Ryzak, of course, started this off with asking for a cheer off because he really does think he's amazing. But of course, everybody got more cheers than Christopher Ryzak, even the referee, per usual. Ryzak started off by hitting both guys, but he did not get an advantage when he did this. He just ended up getting his own ass kicked out of the ring. Both the men took him out. Then those two guys kind of went on, you know, Marty the Moth and Matt Cross kind of went at each other a little bit, which everyone was happy to see because those two guys are beautiful in the ring. Eventually, Matt Cross gets kind of knocked out of the ring. Ryzak gets in there, tries to take advantage, tries to take Marty the Moth's head to the turnbuckle, trying to bounce it up and down to take him out. However, Marty the Moth is a little woohoo. If you haven't seen him, go look him up. You'll see he's a little crazy. And he decided to stop Ryzak and let him know, you're doing this wrong. Let me show you. While he starts to put his own head into the turnbuckle. He is such a genius at wrestling. It is hard to hurt someone who is willing to hurt themselves. So how do you take someone like that out? Christopher Ryzak definitely was looking at trouble here. So after taking turns whooping on Ryzak, he somehow gets on top. And this is true. So we get a moment where Matt Cross and Marty the Moth are both in the ring with Ryzak, and they're taking turns just pummeling him. And I'm sitting there watching with my own two eyes, and I don't even know how this happens, but somehow Ryzak ends up on top. Ends up taking on both guys, beating on both guys, being the person who's winning this match. And you're thinking, how does this happen? It's Marty the Moth and Matt Cross. This is not a possibility. Ryzak must be way better than anybody's giving him credit for. He's not just a beautiful bald man looking in a mirror. But eventually, senses come back to the other two guys. I mean, they had to. At some point, they had to realize, oh my gosh, Christopher Ryzak is kicking our ass. That cannot happen. And we saw, well, we did see a little bit of booty, Ryzak booty. I mean, it happens. He thought he was going to whip Marty the Moth with his belt. That did not happen. And Marty the Moth tried to pull him down for a pin. His pants came down. Everybody was mooned. It was crazy. Marty the Moth still didn't even get the 1, 2, 3 off of that. But
once again, referee, just because he got to wear the entrance gear.
But you can't do that. There's no rules in a triple threat. There it is. Children, avert your eyes. 2.
Watching all three men in that ring was a beautiful thing. They exchanged beautifully. They moved around each other beautifully. Again, it was like another beautiful dance in the ring. It is another contender for match of the night. It's hard for me to pinpoint exactly which one. At one point, the ref did get knocked out, and Marty would have won as he was covering cross. He got like a 5 count. Then Ryzak used the belt to knock out Marty, but at this point, when the ref got up, he only got a 2 count. But then Matt Cross got a beautiful cross cutter put on Ryzak. Then he did a 450 splash on Marty. He got the pin, and he won. And now we have a new SAPW heavyweight champ. And that was great. And that was the end of the show. And I'm really, really super excited for the next show. And now you know what I've seen. And welcome to my very first review show. Let me know, 1, what we can name this show. 2, let me know how I can clean it up a little and help it be a little bit better. And 3, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to visit SAPW. And if you're in or around the Spokane area, make sure to catch their next live show. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this inaugural review. I love you guys so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.